Hey everybody, this is my 55-gallon Gourami tank, and tonight we're just going to do a fairly simple before and after water change video. I really need to get in there and do some work on the filter. I got to get that cleaned out and repacked with new filter material. I'm probably even going to get the biomaterial rinsed out a little bit. It's been quite a while since we've been in the filter in this tank. So I may get some of that on video, I may not. It just depends on how things go as I get started doing the work here in the tank. My main goal here is at least just to get a before and after, and then anything in the meantime is just going to be a bonus. So one of the things I want to do, or I guess I should say I was thinking about doing, was getting in there and trimming up my red tiger lotus a little bit. I got in there not long ago and I cut a lot of the growth off of it right at the base, and now we're seeing a lot of new growth coming back in. And one of the pieces I wanted to get rid of was that long sort of trailing piece. What the plant will do is send up what I think of as scouts, and it's looking for the surface basically, and when it finds it and gets atmospheric oxygen, then suddenly every shoot that plant sends up is going to go straight for the surface. And I don't really want the lily pads. I don't want the leaves on the surface. I want it to be denser and bushier and deeper down in the tank. So we're going to go ahead and trim that back maybe. If not, I might just let the plant recover a little bit. It's not even to the surface yet, so we've got plenty of time to worry about that. So we'll see how that goes. It just kind of annoys me having that one leaf way up in the air like that. The other thing I really need to get in there and work on is, you guessed it, the water sprite. I've always got to get in there and clear the water sprite out of this tank. It just grows like a beast. So if we look at it very closely, we can see tons of little roots hanging down, which means I've got gobs of little young new plants growing in there amongst the big main plant. So I don't know if I'm going to pull some of the younger plants out and sort of start over and get some cleaner plants that have less of the cyanobacteria growing on them, or if I'm going to leave the main plant in there and then just pull a lot of the babies out. We'll have to see how things look once I get in there and actually start teasing it apart and seeing what's what. Either way, a lot of plants are going to go in a bucket in the other room and are going to get treated for the cyanobacteria, and then I'll have lots and lots of that water sprite to either, you know, pass on to somebody else possibly if that works out, or put it in some of my other tanks. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So we will go ahead and say, here's your before. And there's your after. Now, it turns out that I did not get in there and do any work on the filter after all. I recently purchased some more of the polyester batting that I use as filter material, and I was in a big hurry, and the bag in front had a big rip in the front of it, so I pushed that out of the way and I grabbed the bag behind it and ran out of the door without really even looking at what I had just purchased. And fortunately, before I pulled the whole filter apart tonight, I looked and I bought fleece lining instead of the polyfill, so that will not do for my purposes. I'm not going to put fleece in there for my filter material, so we're good to go. We can let it ride another day or two. I really do need to get in there and do it, but we're going to get in there and do another water change within the next few days anyway, because when I got in there and checked the water, it had been a long time since I've done a water change on this, so just out of curiosity I did a nitrate test, and the nitrates were really red, much redder than I'm normally used to seeing. It was getting into that sort of dark red territory, probably up over 100 parts per million. So as I suspected, it's been a while since I've done a water change on this tank. If you'll remember, I had a table sitting in front of this tank that made it sort of inconvenient to get to, and while I did still do water changes, I didn't do them enough, and I haven't done work on the filter in I can't remember how long. So I still do need to get in there and do that. And since after the water change I did another test, and the nitrate vial still came out solidly bright red, you know, that to me is beyond reasonable. I often talk about how you don't really need to worry about your nitrates as long as they stay reasonable, and as long as you can get to a water change in the reasonably near future. The word reasonable is key here, and if I do about a 20 to 25% water change, which is what I did, and I've still got bright red nitrates on the other end of that, that's probably getting a little higher than I want them overall. So we're going to give it a few days to let the fish adjust to the drop in nitrates originally, and then after a few days we'll go ahead and we'll do another 25-30% water change, and I'll have my filter material in there. We'll get in there and we'll do the filter, and we'll get the tank cleaned up a lot more, and it'll bring the nitrates back down to a much more reasonable level without slamming them down by doing a massive water change. That can be as traumatic on the fish as simply leaving the nitrates where they are. So we're going to let it ride for a few more days, let the fish adjust, and then we will go ahead and get in there and do another water change, and we'll get the filter taken care of. In the meantime, you can see that I really got in there and got a lot of that water sprite out of there. In fact, what I did was I put a lot of it right in that bucket right here. So I'm going to offer that to anybody who wants to buy some of my water sprite. I'll put my email address in the links below, or in the comment section below, or whatever. You can also contact me on Facebook Messenger. I don't really do anything on Facebook, but I am on Facebook Messenger if you need to get a hold of me for something. And if you live in the continental U.S. and I can just mail you some of those plants, go ahead and contact me if you're interested in that. I've got a PayPal account, and there's various other ways we could square away with doing something like that. So let me know if you're interested. I got lots and lots and lots of little baby water sprite in there, and it does not look like the mother plant here. The mother plant looks all sort of lace leaf, but the babies are actually the ones that come out looking more like that. If you can see those broad leaves in there. Let's see if we can pull a chunk of it out of the bin here. So you can see it's got the full leaf there, and it's not like this sort of spindly lace leaf. So I've never quite known what to make of this, why it gets all sort of spindly like that. It's only this plant that does it. All of the babies look normal, and then all of the babies continue to grow normal after they come out of this tank. So I don't know what it is with that mother plant, but once again I decided to leave that one in there because I really do like the look of it. It's just sort of strange. And then again, we've got that bucket full of little babies, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and contact me either through my email, Facebook Messenger. You can simply leave a message or comment down below, and I'll get to that, and we can get together and see what we can do. So thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and that way you won't miss any of the other videos I got coming up or anything else. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget, this is my 55-gallon Gourami tank. I'll see you real soon in the next one.